All right, brother. What's good?
Good to be back. It's been what, 2 months since our last one?
Has it really? Two
Something like
months?
that.
God damn.
Might be three actually, because we were in August, right?
Yeah, I think so. It's August.
Yeah, November now. It's a lot less hot here in Florida. Where are you at?
I'm in Cali, bro.
Oh man.
In LA. I'm getting the fuck out of here ASAP though. I gotta get the fuck out of California. Dude, I was thinking Miami for the longest time, but now I'm having second thoughts because we were thinking about going back to apartment living, but now we have a dog and I have a girl. It's like that, and we live in a house now, so going back to an apartment is like
Yeah.
regressing. So we're thinking maybe, I don't know, like Vegas, Oklahoma, just get a bunch of straps and go buy like 10 acres of land.
Oklahoma's cool. I've been out. Have you ever been to Oklahoma?
I haven't, bro.
The Dust Bowl. They're not kidding when they say that. You can get property out there super cheap, but I mean the odds it gets hit by like a tornado are pretty high.
No way.
I mean that's why everything's so cheap. There's nothing out there, and it's just like insane weather.
Jesus Christ.
Uh,
We need to
but
do a
it's
lot more
cool.
research. But yeah,
Vegas is pretty tight. I have a bunch of buddies that live out there,
it just gets
and
hot.
it gets real hot in the sun. But it's. I mean, they all say it's dry. You know, it's not like Florida hot.
Yeah, bro, fuck. Miami is something different. I don't know how you do that shit over there in Tampa.
Yeah, Tampa's not as bad. I'm living in kind of Miami Junior over here, but it's on that track. I pop over there every now and again for fun.
Nice, bro. Well, I think we should dive right into this fucking podcast, bro. There's a lot. We got such good feedback on that past podcast that we did, so we had to run this shit back. There's a
Is
lot
that
of
right? People liked
questions.
it.
Yeah, people loved it. People loved it, bro. We got such good feedback. Your clips specifically, you got clips that are getting millions of views from my
Really?
clippers, bro. Yeah, like you definitely were getting some goddamn good views. But there were a lot of questions that they wanted to ask that we should go over this time. We should get into more like a nitty gritty kind of just spitball. But I'm
Yeah.
definitely excited to talk again, bro, because there's a lot of fucking information people are trying to extract from us. So the first thing I have here, we can go into your points and shit later, but the first thing that a lot of people are wondering always is how do I read my blood work results and what if something's off like high estrogen or low T? Now, obviously you run a TRT clinic, you own that shit. So you do nothing but blood work probably like day in, day out. I'm pretty much the same way, coach. So I have to read at all my clients' labs. That's the whole point of the program, to make sure everyone's good. Now, for me specifically, what I'm looking for, I at least am trying to see the bloods. It takes a long time, in my opinion, to be able to look at labs and decipher the results and be like, okay, this is happening, this is happening. It takes a long time. For someone that's new, that doesn't have that oversight or isn't going to a clinic or doesn't have that coach, I think that the best thing that they could possibly do is just get your labs somewhere that's like a decent fucking lab, maybe like Algo, Labs MD, even going to a clinic, just getting a lab work done, because typically you'll see everything in the reference range. There's typical reference ranges. Every lab's different, but you're typically going to see things in range, and it'll tell you on the report whether it's out of range, whether it's below the range. As long as everything is in that range, you should be good. Now, if there's some abnormalities, then of course that's something that you need to look into. But my main thing is just making sure that everything's in range for these people. If they're trying to get that extra guidance, they of course need a professional on their side. Go to a clinic, figure out if there's something slightly out of range that could be a precursor to a massive problem. If something's way out of range, then you've got a fucking issue already. That's at least my thought process behind that. And the top thing is never go to a goddamn doctor, because they won't be able to tell you shit. I went
Yeah.
to a doctor recently, bro, to get a free set of labs done because I was getting referrals for a bunch of shit. And my hematocrit, hemoglobin, and RBC was out of range. It was out of range. I was on a cycle, okay? Or I was just taking high tests. It was out of range. They said everything's all good. I said, okay, everything's all good. Can I get a copy of the labs? They send me the labs, and this shit is completely fucking out of whack, bro. And they did not tell me that shit. And it's like, if they're doing that shit to me, what are all these other people getting from these docs, bro? They're thinking they're all good, but in reality, if they actually do the research into their labs, they just get the report in their hands. Like, shit's not right, bro. Like, there could be things that are wrong. They're not telling you. So what's your
Yeah.
thought process behind that?
So I will give some of the doctors some grace because a lot of times when someone like you comes in, right, they're like, okay, this guy's blasting gear. This is, this should happen.
Yeah.
But they don't have, excuse me, they don't have the knowledge to give you some level of advisory or plan on how to combat those symptoms. Now, we all know if your hematocrit's high or any of that, like just go donate blood. Like that's the easiest thing on the planet. And if you are on TRT or steroids or whatever, you should be donating, once a quarter, like twice a year, whatever it is. Anyway, I'll probably do myself. They say, about the same frequency you change the oil in your car. Every time you change your oil, go get a blood dump. But for a lot of those guys, they see people like you come in, they're like, well, if we don't want to be liable for giving you some sort of plan to go do something, and then that messes you up worse, right? I will say for things like estrogen, I do fully agree with you. If you go get your lab done, it will tell you on there if it's out of range or not. But a lot of times we have people come and they're like, holy shit, I just got my labs done and my estrogen's at 50, 60, 70, my estradiol. And they're like I need an aromatase inhibitor. And then we're like, well, yes, it is high. It's out of range, but it's really how close is, what is the ratio to your test, right? If your T is 1500 and your estrogen is 60, yeah, it's going to say your E's high, but like your actual aromatization rate is pretty low. So you're not going to be experiencing side effects. And a lot of people have this like idea that one hormone can raise without the other, as if it's not like a counterbalancing act, right? Your estrogen raises when your testosterone raises, and that level of aromatization is different for everyone. So it's depending on what your rate's going to be. And then a lot of people also overdo the AIs, the aromatase inhibitors. They're like, I don't want to get gyno. I don't want to have bitch tits or be emotional or whatever. You hear all these guys. So I just want to get rid of all my estrogen because, fuck estrogen. It's super lame, which it is. Estrogen sucks. But you do need some, right? Because if you don't have a baseline of it, it is a pivotal factor in cognitive function as well as sexual function.
Agreed.
So a lot of guys that are blasting test, and then they're like, I don't know why my dick's not working. My test is fucking 1500. What the fuck? And it's not the test; it's the aromatase inhibitor. You crushed your estrogen so totally that you're walking around fucked up and depressed, and your dick doesn't work. And it's like if you just let this little thing breathe a little bit, right? We don't need you in the hundreds, getting gyno or whatever. But it's really just about your ratio. And I think that's where a lot of people mess up, and most doctors don't know how to advise on that either, because they're not dealing with people like this. You're not taught anything about hormones in medical school. It's not covered in a single chapter.
100%. I'm in full agreement, bro. And that is the main thing that everyone's worried about is the estrogen, the gyno, the mood swings, whatever it may be. That's the top thing that people are even going to be worried about or concerned about if they are just taking TRT or starting with the low dose of test. I always tell everyone to start with the low dose of test. If they're going to push a blast, they got to start there. They cannot be pushing fucking trenanadrol for their first goddamn cycle. That's how you run into massive sides. What's your thought process behind this? Because I see this happen a lot too. When it comes to TRT, a lot of people are taking AIs. If they're not even considering a cycle, they're just like, okay, I need TRT. My baseline's at like 200-300. I'm fucking borderline hypogonadal. I need TRT. But with a lot of these clinics, they're just giving them fucking AIs like candy, bro. And it's like they're taking 150, 200 on the high end when it comes to this shit, right? And they're giving AIs, and the clinic is like, take this weekly, bro. Take like a tab of Verimedex or whatever weekly and Atrazol, and you're going to be fine. Just do this for the rest of your life. You're going to be good. What's your thought process behind that? Because in my personal opinion, I think that's horrible. If that's just the initial, what clinics do is that's the initial thing that they just hand out those AIs. Because in my personal opinion, AIs are very toxic. I don't think people should just be popping this shit willy-nilly. If they're taking a blast, then of course you're going to have to, because you're taking super physiological levels of hormones. But if you're just taking TRT, I feel like that you shouldn't even really be taking AI unless it's like bodybuilding TRT, where you're already assuming the fact you're going to push yourself into that super physiological range. I don't even think that they should be taking that shit. What's your thought process behind it?
Yeah, I'm in a pretty big agreement on this. This was actually a pretty big focal point for us because when I was a consumer, before I was a owner of a clinic like this, and I won't say the company's name, but they gave me a lot of stuff that was just completely ass backwards that I now know. But at the time, I wouldn't have known otherwise. And they're just, like you said, handing out aromatase inhibitors. I was on an anastrozole, and I said the same thing. I was like, well, look, I don't want to. I was even opposed to TRT, but they're like, hey, you can use this. You have low testosterone. I was like, okay, great. And then I'm like, but I don't want, I don't want to get gyno. All the same things everybody said. So they give me shit tons of anastrozole, and I was wondering, like in the beginning of the TRT, I felt fantastic. Everything was great, right? My T was up for the first time, and then you hit this like plateau, and you're wondering what's going on. Come to find out years later, like they were given so much anastrozole to anybody for the same reason. They just didn't know who does and doesn't need it. And people get all of these horrible, horrible side effects. It is very toxic for you to crush your estrogen. And what we do now is we don't give anastrozole or Arimidex or any aromatase inhibitor unless we see it on the blood work that they need it. It is included for free with every patient, so it's not like they have to pay extra for it. But there's no reason to be giving them out because most people, I would say above 50%, will never need an aromatase inhibitor. But they're, like you said, they're giving them out like candy because everyone just wants to remove liability. Okay, as long as they don't get gyno, then the patient's going to be happy. But now you've just got this guy walking around depressed, and he thinks, he's like, oh, there's nothing that can help me. It's like, well, you're doing too much.
100%. Bro, that's what gets me too all the time is when these clinics and people are just like, yeah, take the AIs, even coaches that are just trying to do damage control. They're just like, okay, this is your protocol. You're going to take test MPP, EQ, and you're taking an anastrozole like 2 tabs a week. They just do that off baseline, and they don't understand that this shit can tank your estrogen. And in my personal opinion, I feel like tanked E2 sides are actually worse than elevated, bro. By far.
Oh my God. Yeah, sucks.
Yeah, and especially mentally, because that's when you see the stories back in the day of people that didn't know how to cycle right. They were coming off cold turkey, no PCT, nothing, crashing their E2, and then it's like borderline they're trying to off themselves. You know what I mean? Like, it can get pretty fucking bad.
Yeah, and it's terrible because most of these clinics, they're worried about malpractice suits more than anything. All they're worried about is this guy's going to come write a review, and they're not. Because they don't have the right information to properly take care of them, it's like you said, all damage control. Mm-hmm. So they give people this baseline product and service that's like, it's not in their best interest, but it covers their bases. No one will ever feel fantastic, but no one's ever going to be, to the point where they can sue. And that's how a lot of companies operate. And I think that's ass backwards. Rather than just learning the material and implementing it with your team, like actually having your doctors learn something new, shocker, like, it's not overly complex. This is like the most basic level too. Hormones are probably the easiest thing in the regenerative and integrative medicine space. Yeah, they're very cut and dry. You read the number on the sheet. If it's where you want it to be, you don't touch it. If it's too high, you dose to drop it down. Like it's really not rocket science.
Yes. Yeah, that's what I always tell my followers and clients and shit. It's just data, bro. It's looking at data and just being data driven and figuring out what works and what doesn't. Everyone's different. Everyone's genetically going to be different to literally everything. So when it comes to like reading your labs or knowing how to get your E2 into range, you were taking this specific dose of test, 150 milligrams TRT. It's just data. Like you just look at, okay, at 150 milligrams of test, my E2 is at 40 or 50 or whatever. Okay. Need to figure out, maybe drop the dose a little bit, maybe figure out how do I get it in that specific perfect fucking range for that dose. Some people can take 150 mgs and they'll be at 60 E2. You know what I mean? Like it's very genetically dependent if you're a high aromatizer, if you're not. It's just data. It's just looking at data. I don't know why more clinics don't do this. I'm pretty sure, I'm assuming the fact that you're doing this day in, day out with your clients. But it's just figuring out genetically, okay, where are you at? What do you react to? And how do we get you into range? That's all it is. That's all this game is. That's what I do with my clients. That's what you do with yours. It's like, that's the name of the game. That's how you do it correct. So the next thing here, where can I source legit gear like Test or HCG without getting scammed? This is a major one, bro. You wouldn't understand the amount of people that DM me about this shit in my comments. There are viral videos just like of people relating to specific captions of like, okay, why haven't you started gear? Because I don't know where to get it. It's a viral fucking trend.
I have seen that. Yeah. Reasons I haven't started gear. I don't know where to find it.
And it's like the reason why they're going viral is because it's relatable. Like people actually don't know where to get this shit.
Yeah.
But when they do, if they do for whatever reason go and try to get it from a buddy or from a random fucking site, they get scammed, they get bunk shit, it's contaminated, they get it Janoed or tested. For people that don't know what Jano shit is, and it's not even the compound they bought. So the question is, where can I source some legit gear? Now, for me, my first thing is always, if you're just gonna go the TRT route, go to a fucking clinic, go somewhere, get it legit. Don't even fuck with UGL. But if you're gonna go the cycle route, then UGL is really the only option you have, unless you're plugged in with a doctor, right? Because you're gonna have to get compounds that legit cannot get prescribed. Like if they're trying to take Tren or Deca can, but like Tren, all these compounds that you won't get prescribed, you're gonna have to go through UGL. My thing is just knowing your source, like looking at reviews, knowing that it's good. If you're going UGL, of course, you're going to have to do some type of underground shit, but you have to make sure reviews are good. Word of mouth is good. When you get it, if you have the funds, Jano that shit, get it tested, because the last thing you want is to pin some fake shit. Once you know it's real, they have lab tests, it's HPLC tested, then it's agreeing to go. Then you can keep fucking going back. But for people that are just going the TRT route, I think clinic, bro. Clinic, pharmacy, just stick with the normal, legitimate route. That's the best possible way to get real shit. Know it's real. Have full peace of mind. You won't have to get it tested. You know for a fact that's real. It is the best possible stuff available, and you're not getting anything better. So what's your thought process behind that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm biased, right? I own a TRT clinic and a TRT company, so I'm always going to say go to the clinic. But the reason I say that is, we both probably have purchased shit from some very sketchy sources.
Yeah.
I know I have. And that's part of the reason my test was tanked at, 20-something years old, is I bought some, SARMs from some supplement shop and, stuff like that when I was younger. And at the time, it's like, okay, these are harmless. Nothing bad's going to happen. And you don't see the negatives for a little while to come. That with a million other things you can do that will actually, just tank your test. But a lot of times people buy these products, they're like, oh, well, this is $100 cheaper if I go from this website in China. And it's like, okay, but you have no idea what's in that. It's like, is it really worth $100 for a completely life-altering illness that is going to affect you forever?
Yeah,
maybe for some people, if that is right, like if you're playing it that close to the nose, sure. But for me, ever since I had that one experience, I am just like, I would so much rather know that it's not made in some factory in China. And I know a lot of this stuff stems from there originally.
Mm-hmm.
And there are places that come from China. I'm not completely biased. There are places that come from China that have excellent product. Their quality is pure, but if you're not testing it, you will never know. And it's a very small percentage of them. So you can play this game of, oh, this guy told me this website is good. And they say online that their stuff's 99.9% pure. So that they must be telling the truth. The CCP is known for that. And it's just like, you gotta be careful with this stuff. And for me,
yeah,
I could sit there and go research that stuff for days and days and find the best thing. But is my time really worth that? I would rather just spend the extra $100 and get it from a doctor here in the United States that goes through some level of pretty rigorous testing before it can go out to market. Otherwise, they would have massive lawsuits on their hands, especially when it comes to TRT, HCG, things like you mentioned. I mean, HCG is, I believe it's trademarked by Pregnolone. So they're the only ones who make real HCG, like the name of it. Just the same way, like semaglutide, patented by or Ozempic, owned by Eli Lilly, whatever it is. So they own the name to it, and they're the only ones who can make it. But yeah, I mean, to make a short answer long, I'm always going to advocate for just go to someone who knows what they're doing and has some sort of liability if they fuck you up.
Yeah.
Because if there's no downside for them if they fuck you up, then what reason do they have to make sure that they're keeping you safe? They're just going to keep cutting their costs down as much as they can.
100% agreed. And the 99.9% of labs don't give a shit. They're just trying to make money. Especially UGL. That's what I meant to say, UGL. Okay, it's literally just guys cooking this shit up. If it's a really good one, yes, it's a lab, but majority is just people cooking that shit up in like a room like we're sitting in now, bro. Like I'm about to reaction video for YouTube of this fucker with a mask. He's cooking his dinner, bro, like chopping up onions and making masterone on the side. Like, but that's the fucking harsh reality of it.
I mean, you can do it. It's not super difficult. They sell kits for it. You can make it yourself. I mean, it's going to be like fucking 75% sterile, but like, you know, you can do it. You know, like you've done it, right? I've seen videos of you making your own.
No.
shit.
No. I don't. Those were all skits. All that shit is skits. I actually don't cook my own tren. But I do have good source qualification when it comes to figuring out good sources. Now, it's such a slippery slope with UGLs, though. That skit that I made with me cooking the trend, that would like showed people what's the harsh reality of this shit. That really is. That's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. They're cooking that shit up in their bathtub, in their kitchen. Like, people don't want to believe it. They think it's a joke. That's 80% of the labs out there. It's just guys cooking it up, trying to flip and make some fucking money. So it's a slippery slope. And even if you do find a good source, it's like the next day, the next batch, it could be bad because they're trying to price cut. They get the ingredients get more expensive. They're like, okay, well, there's a Primo shortage. The ingredients, it's going to be a lot more expensive now. What if I just switch this ingredient out? I make EQ instead. Now I'm going to fucking sell you EQ. Say it's Primo, slap the Primo label, and you're not going to know the goddamn difference unless you get it tested.
How would you? Yeah, you would have no idea.
And in all honesty, no one's getting their gear tested when they're buying it UGL. It's going to cost like 5x the amount that they purchase a gear for to just test it, to test one vial as well. So it's like, no one's really going to do that shit. It's how they know they're going to get away with it. It's a slippery slope. The way I do it, at least, is with my UGL sources. I'm vetting them. I'm getting this shit tested rigorously, consistently every batch. I have people getting that shit tested, making sure it's real. I'm getting that shit tested, genuing it myself. Because the last thing I want is to pin some contaminated gear, to pin some bunk shit, to think I'm taking 300 milligrams of test. In reality, I'm taking 100 milligrams of fucking tren or some shit. Like, that's the last thing I want for anyone in my circle, like my clients and shit. So that's what I do. But it is such a slippery slope. It's such a risky game to get into. Especially just looking it up. Like, you can look this up. What people fail to understand is that they can't use their brain. They're scrolling on TikTok. They'd rather go into the comments and be like, how do I get gear, instead of just going off the app and looking it up online. And you will find the answers there. But it's very risky. It's a very risky game doing it like that, at least in my personal opinion.
Yeah, no, I can agree with you. I mean, it's never been something I've never ordered on like sites like that without someone else that said, hey, this is where I order from.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's equally as irresponsible, because what the fuck is that guy know?
Yeah. I've done it too. I started out doing that shit. Not by like word of mouth. I just went and tested a bunch of sources and I fucked up so bad, bro. Pip, I had edema in my leg because there's some contaminated shit. I've gotten infections. Like, there's videos of me.
So common.
Yeah, there's videos of me where it's like huge ass fucking like bruises and shit, bro. Like, it's bad. It's bad. There's a lot of very risky things, risky labs out there. It's just a dangerous game. But there are good sources out there. There are good clinics, good pharmacies. That's why I always say just pharmacy or clinic. That is the only surefire way that you're going to get real stuff. And you have that peace of mind. And you know, okay, I'm getting prescribed 150 milligrams of tests a week. At least you know you're taking 150 milligrams of test a week if you go through the clinic route. So that's what I always recommend people if they're taking long-term TRT.
If you're not trying to be a bodybuilder, you don't really need so much extreme shit that
100%.
people do. I think of the things that are pharmaceutically available in the United States, you can accomplish probably 90% of what you want to accomplish, as opposed to going and getting this random shit. You know, you can get nandrolone prescribed. You can get oxandrolone even if you find someone friendly enough. There's a clinic here in town that I went to when we were scouting out, you know, who was the competition. And within the first 5 minutes of us sitting there, they're like, you know, you guys want like oxandrolone, like a Panbar? I'm like, what the fuck is this place, dude?
Oh, shit, it's hilarious.
So, like, there's plenty of stuff you can go do. You know, we don't really dabble so much in the in the oxandrolone world. However, there are benefits to a very low dose of nandrolone, especially for like joints and stuff like that.
Yeah.
When it comes to medical and things like that. So I think people are looking in the wrong places because they see, oh, this is what the top bodybuilders take. If I take what they take, I can get looking like them. And it's like, no, why don't you start with tests and something maybe a little more mild, and I can get you probably the result you're looking for, but you're not going to fucking kill yourself with random chemicals and everything else that people get sucked into.
That's a huge point, bro. That is a major point. When they see these cycles, like Rich Pan and Boston Lloyd, they're like, oh yeah, I'm taking this synthol insulin growth at like 20 IU a day. It's like, okay, in their mind, they're taking that shit and they're going to look like that. It's like, no. First off, genetically, it very heavily depends on your genetics. Also, it depends on the fucking work that they're putting in, the work you are putting in with your training, with your diet. If you're not disciplined, gear's not the magic pill out of that shit. If you take TRT, it's going to make you feel a million times better if you need it. If your test was low, right, you take TRT. You don't even have to be working out. You'll just be more optimal as a male. You're going to have more fucking energy. You'll be able to get out of bed, work ethic, anything that makes someone a male, you're going to get that shit if you get your tests in a range. Are you still there? There you go. But yeah, without the diet and the training, if you're taking like these heavy ass cycles, you're going to run into nothing but cons, negatives. You're not going to see the results you want. You definitely will see results, but nowhere near what you could be fucking doing if you just take this a slow and steady approach. Start with a low dose of tests if you're going to go the enhanced route, TRT pretty much, and just work your way up from there. The amount of results my clients get that only take tests at a very low dose is absolutely insane, bro. Like, I have professional caliber like IBB Pro clients that are taking heavy ass cycles, but I also have like your normal recreational client. The majority of my clients, okay, are just people that are trying to get a quick physique, and they achieve that with a very low amount of gear. Like, you don't need crazy ass cycles.
And it's crazy how many people you see that are on these insane cycles that just look so natural. And there's like rage bait online where people are like, bro 100%. Took all these steroids just to look natural, and he actually looks like a fucking Greek god. But like, I can't tell you how many people I know personally that are like, oh yeah, I'm doing mass, VAR, EQ, like and then getting me 5 other things, a little bit of GH. And I'm like, dog, like, you don't even look like you're eating. You're not even on food.
Holy shit.
You fucking eat something. And, like, I don't know. I think so many people are overthinking it. And it's really just not rocket science to just eat the food. The food is going to be the biggest difference maker. It is not whatever fucking steroids you're taking. Right? Like, it is. If you want to gain size, eat in a fucking calorie surplus. You are not going to turn into fucking sebum if you're just blasting a load of tren. I mean, it's going to help, but you got to eat in calorie surplus to get bigger. Like, that is rule number 1. I don't understand where they're so focused on the pharmacology aspect of it. And it's like, that is a supplement.
Yeah.
The whole point, the whole word supplement is in assistance with something else, right? Is to supplement it. It is to aid, not to be the main driving factor. And then the same thing when it comes to, they're trying to get ripped. They're like, okay, I started taking, Anabar Tren, Winstrol, whatever. I'm trying to get lean. It's like, okay, have you tried not stuffing your fat ass? Like, oh, no. Well, like, if I take this, I'll, like, bro, you look like shit.
100%.
Stop eating.
Dude, the rage bait is so true that I've made so many goddamn videos. That's like the majority of the comments on those clips. It's like, bro, all that gear to look natural. It's like, okay. But that's the whole point of the video. It's crazy the amount of people, the amount of clients that come to me, new leads that are like, hey, bro, I'm doing this. I'm taking this amount of gear. I'm taking a gram of tests. I'm taking like 500 NPP, taking low dose EQ, a little bit of anadrol as well. Why am I not seeing results, bro? Like, I'm taking all this gear and they don't look like they're on gear. I'm like, okay. So let's zoom out here for a second. What are you eating? What are you doing it for your training regimen? They're like, well, I mean, I go to the gym like 3-4 times a week and we're out for like 30 minutes. A pop, not that intense, but I'm getting the workout in. And then they're like, okay, well, I'm trying to hit my diet, but it's a little hard with my job. Like, I'm pretty fucking busy. I eat McDonald's a lot. I'll get Chick-fil-A. And I'm like, okay, You just answered the question for yourself. It's diet and training. That's why I make this point so goddamn clear. It's literally diet and training. If you're not doing those two factors, you will not see results. Now, the gear definitely is, it's going to get you there quick. It really is the only vessel that will allow you to get quick fucking gains with a dialed training regimen and diet and dialed diet. But it's not going to give you the fucking result. It's not the magic pill. Like, you still have to put in the work. But people that are disciplined, that have that ethic, that do follow consistent diet, that understand macros, that understand a specific training protocol, they're the ones that see crazy results. Like, you see these guys online, all the crazy videos that are real of guys getting quick transformations half a year. They're a different person. They go from boy to man in half a year. Just with
I watched your series on that where you rate people's transformations. It's so funny, bro. You crack me up.
Yeah, bro. It's there's a lot of people out there. There's a trend for a while. I had to stop because there was too many people putting out fake videos. I got a bunch of heat for doing that shit.
Yeah.
Greg just made a video on me.
It'll start as like a skinny Asian boy, and then he'll turn into like a black guy, who's a fucking bodybuilder after 6 months. That shit cracks me every time. The fucking hard style in the background.
Those are hilarious, bro. I know exactly what you're talking about. Okay. Let's see here. Let's go to the next question. What's the starter cycle look like for a beginner, and how much tests per week? I don't think we went over that one.
I would say for the average person, because of how low people are coming in now, and when we last spoke, I kind of let you know, most of the lowest scores we see are guys in their 20s, which is completely ass backwards. And that has, even in the last few months, there's a tangible difference now. And I think that's going to continue for the foreseeable future, which is getting pretty scary. So for a lot of time, a lot of cases, we have to start people at 200 milligrams a week. And, we get people up to, we said we want you to be in optimal range. Our job is, we are not going to let anyone go, 1,500, 2,000 tests. Like, we are not a bodybuilding clinic. We're not open to serve that. There are places you can go to do that. It's not us. And, my range where I like to sit is right about 1,100. That's where I find I get the best, feeling with no side effects, no acne, no hair loss, no, whatever. And for most people, it's just finding their range, and on 200 milligrams of test, most people will sit between, 900 and 1,200. And that's really where we try to find that sweet spot. If they're going over and they're starting to veer into like 1,250, 1,300, we'll drop them down a little bit. Especially if their estrogen's really kicking. But we will, we'll typically try to keep them in there. I would say the average person is doing probably 200 milligrams a week right now. And I'm curious, and this is something I'm looking to find out right now, is if it's because their starting point is so low that they need more to get them where they should be. Like, is there something genetically different about the way a human body works now because of what's in the water, because of what's in the food, that their body does not adapt to testosterone as well? Because some of the older guys that come in that are in their 30s, 40s, 50s, they need, 100, 120, 150 milligrams a week tops. And then they're up at, 900, 1,000, and they feel great. But the younger guys seem to require more. So for anyone in that younger category, it sounds so backwards, but almost nobody who's younger today is anywhere close to optimal. And everybody has this notion of, oh, well, I'm 24 years old. My testosterone is healthy right now because I'm 24. And for a fact, with 100% certainty, because you're younger, your testosterone is worse off, without a doubt. Unless you are genetically predisposed, unless you are genetically predisposed to having naturally high testosterone, you are 100% lower testosterone than someone who is in their 50s and 60s. We see thousands of people. It is 100% factual.
And it's scary. We touched on that last time, but it's so scary, bro. Because the same issue has happened to me as well. Because, like, I'm technically part of the younger generation, about to be 24. You know what I mean? So I'm a part of that, and it does take me more tests, bro. I need to take more fucking tests to see the same results as someone else that's taking like 100. Now, it might be just my genetics. It might be what you're saying. I would not be surprised at all if it was what you're saying, because I've seen so many people, same thing with you, these younger people that have crash tests, 2, 3, 400. I was there as well. But it's like we said in the last one, like 100, 200 years ago, the natural baseline was like 1,000 nanograms a deciliter, bro. And now it's like 200, 300 for kids.
That wasn't 200 years ago. That was like, 40 years ago, 50 years ago.
Damn.
That was like in the 60s and 70s. It was, if you were our age now, right, between 23 and 26, and your testosterone, the average male testosterone, I believe, like 875 or something like that. 875. If someone came in today with 875 natural test at any age, everyone would be blown out of their fucking seat. It is so uncommon, almost, it just doesn't happen. And what's really funny is sometimes it will be the most unsuspecting people. It will be the skinniest dude who is maybe a little flamboyant looking, and you're like, okay, here we go. This guy's got to be like 150 tests. Guy comes out and he's like 900. You're like, how the fuck does that happen? And then fucking, Tony Big Shot walks in with his fucking giant muscles and deep voice, and the guy's at fucking 200, and you're like, okay, what the hell's going on here? But it's really helpful, and the labs come down to everything, right? When we do our main test on site at the clinic, we then on the 30-day follow-up will send out and do a comprehensive full panel where we're testing pretty much everything you need to look at in terms of and someone who'd be using TRT. And it's really cool to see, how people adapt to that. And when people come back in for the first time having optimized testosterone, it is a night and day difference. Like just the confidence, the aura that you have, right? You are stronger already within 30 days. You're going to be physically stronger. It's not going to be a lot. You're not going to be jacked, but you will be stronger. You will have, just walking around with your chest up. The mental clarity is the number one thing we hear from everybody. The best analogy I heard was actually from our medical director when he started TRT. He said, like the lights came on and they'd been off for a long time. And that to me was really eye-opening, because that's what it was for me. I was like, holy shit, like I haven't really thought the same since I've been on, TRT than before. It's just a different existence.
Agreed. It is. It really is just like a switch is flipping. It's like the switch was off. You weren't really living, and you weren't at, like being a male, and then the switch it flips on, bro. When you get on, if you need it, of course. If you're already in the optimal range, it's like, okay, well, you're already in the range. You can take compounds. You're of course going to get a crazy physique, but it's mainly for the people that had a low test to begin with, which is a lot of people. I'd say like 80% of the people that follow me have low test, and they're gravitating towards us because they want to be a normal fucking male. They want to get that physique. They can't do it. Now, a lot of the times it's just laziness, okay? But what's causing the goddamn laziness? Because they have low T. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's...
And a lot of times you'll hear people like, well, I eat a really good diet and I work out and whatever. So, like, I think I'll just try to raise it myself. I'm like, you can't. Like, you cannot do it. I don't care what fucking diet you start doing, how much vitamin D you start taking. You might raise it 50, 100 points if you're really fucking good. But if you're raising it 50 to 100 points from 200, what the hell does that do?
Yeah.
And what we've seen a lot of that's becoming ever more popular is enclomiphene. I don't know if you ever dabbled with that.
Yeah, 100%. Mainly for post-psychotherapy context.
Exactly, right? So that's how most people use it, is when you're coming off TRT or when you're coming off something, you take the enclomiphene to rebalance everything out and stimulate your natural production again. We're having a lot of guys come in who are like, I'm not ready to take TRT, but I also want a higher testosterone level. Like, okay, we kind of had to find a balance there. There's a lot of companies out there that are providing Clomid, which I cannot say enough bad things about Clomid.
Very toxic, very toxic.
Same people that are giving out the aromatase inhibitors are giving out Clomid.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, this is the dumbest shit ever. But in clomiphene, big fan. And we are getting people, some guys sub 300 are coming back at 1,000 on their 30-day follow-up, just from enclomiphene, which when we were early in our clinic days, we assumed enclomiphene could really only get you about a 2x, maybe 3x if you were lucky. But we're seeing some pretty crazy results of 25 milligrams a day, which is a pretty standard dose. And these guys are getting all the same benefits of TRT without, stopping their natural production, which is like they're going to come out with more and more stuff like this.
Yeah.
I hope, and it's going to get to a point where pharmaceutically you will be able to defeat whatever this shitstorm is that we have with testosterone, and you won't have to suffer through things like hair loss, body acne, whatever. But it's really going to be about how the medical industry wants to play this, because elevated testosterone removes the need for a lot of big pharma's money. You don't need antidepressants if you have high testosterone, because you're not going to be depressed. You don't need psych meds. You don't need things to give you more energy. You don't need half of the crap that they're giving people, and it makes them billions of dollars a year if everybody had normal testosterone. Now we could go down the rabbit hole, and I could start going off about why that's on purpose and why they choose to have us this way to give us more meds. But the underlying theme is, unless you start taking it into your own hands, you're going to be at the mercy of whatever these guys want to feed you. And if you want to start popping government pills all day, be my guest, but that's not my game.
Agreed, bro. I'd be very curious to see the stats that come out later on down the road of what exactly is happening. I'm sure there's a ton of studies already going on, but I'd be curious to see the actual data of a large group of people, of males, young males, on what's happening, what's directly causing this shit. Of course, that you look at the food, all the ingredients that are in food nowadays, and anything that you buy, even if it's at a fucking healthy, it's like back then there was one ingredient, bro, in a normal ass item. Now there's 20. I believe we touched on that previously. It's what is all this shit that I don't fucking know what it is. No one else does either. You're eating it, you're ingesting it. The water, what the hell is in the goddamn water? So everything we're consuming is fucking us up, bro. And I would be very surprised to see, I'm not going to be surprised, but I'm curious to see what exactly is causing this shit. But you were spot on. I mean, you can see it too. You can see it with males nowadays. Just everyone's getting progressively softer, and it's like we're glorifying people that have normal testosterone now on social media. It's look at the people that are getting boosted up. It's people with normal ass testosterone.
Yeah,
that's why they're getting boosted, because it's so rare.
Right. Yeah, it's
weird, bro.
This guy's blasting what a juice head, and his test is 900, and it's this that's what you're supposed to be at, bro. That's what your grandpa's test was.
Yeah.
Grandpa fucking juice head.
That's crazy, bro.
It's pretty nuts. And I sit there and I do wonder why it is such an issue that doesn't get talked about, and it's so taboo to talk about.
It is.
And it's weird to me that, and I don't think it's new, I wonder why hormones, and I say this a few times, because I talk to my doctors, my MDs, my medical professionals that I hire, and others in the industry, and I ask them, hey, why doesn't this get covered in medical school? Is it really almost nothing? And they're like, you touch on it for a day, and then they never talk about hormones again. And this is, my medical director went to college in fucking 1960 or some shit, right? So this has been going on for a long time, or 1970, whatever the fuck it was. And I'm so curious why it's not taught in medical school, if it's one of the most pivotal functions that a human body has, is your hormones. It is so responsible for half of your makeup, everything that your body does to function, whether that's cognitive, whether that's energy, whether that's longevity. So much of it is dependent on hormones, and yet they're not talked about. That to me seems like a pretty obvious reason that for a long time there has been a calculated plan to attack human beings via their hormones and then sell them a cure that is a never-ending money machine to have to buy more and more. Yeah,
in full agreement. I'm in full agreement, bro.
Yeah, you can't fly too close to the sun, otherwise you get disappeared. But hopefully we're not that popular yet, but one day that'll come.
Yeah, bro. That's that's spot on. It's very strange to me. It is very strange that doctors don't have knowledge on this shit. You go to a doctor, it's I'm instructing the doctor. When I went to get my referrals, I'm instructing the doctor on all this shit. It's but I'm supposed to be coming to you for help. Like, what the hell is going on here? Why am I having to tell you this shit? But it's like, it could be calculated. Who knows? That brings us to this point on socials, bro. I know you wanted to touch on this, but it feels like I've always dealt with this problem across every fucking platform I go on. I'm getting like deplatformed and I'm getting suppressed in my content. I have found a very good way to bypass these things, but you have to go through a bunch of loopholes in order to not get suppressed, bro. And it's very odd that that they don't like this specific type of content. Everyone in the niche of hormone optimization or steroids or whatever the fuck, they're all getting their vids taken down, suppressed, shadow banned. Like, that's a huge thing that's happening. I'm curious to hear what your experience has been like, because, bro, from when we had our podcast, like, you are taking off on socials, bro. Like, you had less than 10K when we did our fucking first podcast. Now you're at, like, what, 70 or some shit? Like, you're blowing up.
71 today. Yeah, it's good stuff. I mean, and you had a milestone as well, right? You just passed 200?
Yeah, 200. That was like a month ago. I'm at like 220 now.
That's no small number. That's fucking awesome.
Thank you, bro.
And I think that's around when it happens, right? No one cares when you have no followers, right? No one cares if your video has no views, what you're saying. You can say whatever you want. And at that time, I remember we were talking about, like, are we going to talk about peptides on the podcast? And you're like, well, I don't do it because my shit always gets taken down. And I was like, oh, I talk about it all the time. I've never had a video taken down. And now I'm seeing it. I get it on TikTok. I get it on Instagram. And it's select videos. And I'm curious kind of what your loopholes are to go around it. I've tried experimenting with some, like different things I can do to make it like, and I try to be very clear. Like I have never once made a offer or been like, hey, I sell this or you can get it here. I've never once in a video said any of that. And even still, I will get it taken down because like you're promoting use of these products. I'm like, no, I'm not. I literally just said that, you shouldn't take it. I actually had a video got taken down, and the whole premise of the video was don't take this.
Bro, it's you'd actually laugh at the videos that have gotten taken down. I had a BPC video that I posted that absolutely blew up, got like 5 million views. Yeah. And the reason they took it down after a week was because of 19 misinformation. It's like, what the fuck?
They were so on that. That was the most crazy suppression I've ever seen, where everyone's post, if it mentioned 19, it was like, the facts in this video are untrue. Do you still want to watch it?
I know,
and it was like the most basic thing.
It's so stupid, but it's been a long time for me. I've had probably about 15 videos on my main Instagram. My YouTube got fucking taken down. It took so long, 3 months to get it back. And it was suppressed. So my whole YouTube was suppressed. It's just gotten in that green state. So I'm going to be grinding on YouTube now. But again, following strict SOPs and guidelines to not get anything taken down. TikTok, same thing, always. They're always taking it down. Worst. But you have to keep in mind now it's AI. AI is everything. It's not human review. Yeah. It's like AI is doing the reviews. Then it gets taken down. The AI will take it down for literally anything. Even if you're saying do not take this, if it's about the compound, they're going to take it down. Yeah. Especially when you're getting more views. When you're hitting the algorithm, that's when they care. If you're not hitting the algorithm, you can say whatever the fuck you want. Say take meth, go kill yourself. And they don't care. But it's when you have influence, that's when they're going to start taking action.
Which is crazy. And, you ask the question of, the First Amendment and all this stuff like that. Like, is there any actual form of free speech? And I guess there's probably some law out there, I'm no lawyer, that says because these are private platforms, they can dictate what they deem as appropriate on their apps, right? That makes sense to me. But where do you go now to have no censorship? Like, do you have to resolve to, like X? And I think even they have guidelines on stuff like this. So I'm curious what you found, and if you've talked to anybody, as what are like the best guidelines for avoiding stuff like this, because it's pretty damaging to me. Now, I didn't have any videos go to 5 million. If I lost that, I would be in a pretty shit state, I'll be honest with you. But I'm curious, what you found has worked best, because I'm starting to feel it, and some of my best videos get taken down. Like, that was my driver.
Oh, always. They'll only take it down once it starts hitting the algorithm hard. I've probably had collectively 50 million views and videos gone, just taken off. But it's like, it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's part of the game, especially in this niche.
Yeah.
But what I've found is specifically with the AI, I feel like my account's more like grandfathered in now because it's gone through so many manual reviews. I think about 25 manual reviews by humans just because of how many times it got fucked. So they understand like, okay, this guy's content is not selling and promoting illegal drugs. As a matter of fact, it's promoting against them. It's only saying it's side mitigation. It's preserving your health. That's the purpose of the content. Saying don't take this specific stuff. If you are, this is what you're going to do to make sure you don't kill yourself. So I feel like humans kind of grandfathered my account in, but the main thing that I tell all my whole clipping team, all my employees, any friend I have that's posting in this niche is descriptions, bro. It's all descriptions. If you write the compound name in the description, it's getting taken down. If you put any hashtag testosterone, hashtag trend, hashtag steroids, hashtag injecting, it's getting taken down. If you even say this is going to help you, it's getting taken down because that's glorification and promotion.
It's in the caption is where a lot of
it's in the caption. Well, the caption is on the screen, the description of the video. So you can't write anything that even hints at it being about gear. It has to be like, this is insane, or this is ridiculous, or real. And then you put hashtag fitness, hashtag workout, and that's it. DM me for coaching. You know what I mean? It's like, it can't be, very vague, very broad in the niche of overall fitness. It cannot tell. The AI will look at that description and it'll say steroids equals bad. The video's gone. It's getting taken down. Then when you request a review, it'll get automatically denied. Because once you get a specific amount of videos taken down, for me, it was like 2 or 3. Now, human review doesn't even happen unless you had that badge. And then you have to go through a whole customer support chat for an hour, get on the phone with the live meta rep, and then they will submit the report, but like it automatically denies once you get a certain amount of fucking takedowns, bro. So, and once you get a specific amount of takedowns, whether it's 8 or 10, they will ban your account permanently. So then you need to go through other means to get it back. And if your account goes, it's like, that's a whole fucking source. It's a funnel. You know what I mean? That's like a business and it's gone. So you have to understand these things in the niche. If you're posting about it, just it's all descriptions, bro. As long as you're not like injecting yourself in the fucking video or doing any of this weird shit, it's gonna be fine. If you put captions saying like this is glutathione or fucking testosterone, this is TRT best practices, whatever the fuck, it doesn't matter in the video as long as it's not over the top. But it's descriptions is everything. Descriptions is absolutely everything, bro. I noticed on some of your videos, you'll put like, this peptide is great. Even the word peptide is controversial, bro. So they could take the video down for that. If you're saying this is how you take glutathione or this is how you take whatever the fuck it is, they're taking that shit down. If they didn't take it down yet, they will take it down, bro, because you're hitting the algorithm. So you have to go back and change your descriptions for videos that haven't gotten taken down. That's like the best thing you can do right now.
Gosh, all right, that's pain. It's funny they even do it for legal stuff. Like glutathione is totally legal. There's nothing like it's a vitamin. And I've had Sermorelin, same thing. I've had stuff taken down for Sermorelin. It is FDA approved. Like anyone can do it. It's made in a compounding pharmacy, and they still will take it down because it's what promotion of whatever. And they just, like you said, it's AI. It doesn't know any better.
Yeah.
And you got to have a guy on the inside with
medical. It's like also that. Comments. It's also comments. So
I get so many that fuck me. Oh my god.
If you respond to comments, like if they're asking, okay, Sermorelin, okay, what is the benefit of this shit? Can I take it at 50? And you respond with yes, they can take it down because you're indirectly glorifying and promoting it to a 50-year-old. So it's like even your comments, bro. It can't be anything in the description or the comments, because that shit will get it taken down. If someone's asking, will Sermorelin fuck up my blood pressure? Will it mess up my blood pressure? Like, well, in this context, it can. In this context, it's not going to affect your blood pressure at all. That will get it taken down.
Wow.
It's very strict, bro. You have to follow their rules to a T. That's the only way you're going to make it in this niche.
What a pain. It's hard enough to get the traction in the first place.
It really hurts. It starts hurting when you get videos taken down, and thankfully I've been very lucky. But I'll get shadow banned for 2 weeks. My content gets suppressed. No one sees it. For 2 weeks, it gets back. I'm like, okay, I got another shot. Happens again. Okay, but I always get another shot, bro. After I get shadow banned, I always come back. There's some people in the niche that get deplatformed. They get wiped off, permanently banned. Now every new account they make gets banned too.
What?
Yeah. So it's like it's a risky road, but like you're saying, if you're plugged in and shit, like you can do shit, but it still sucks that this type of content is like literally harm reduction and making sure that people are preserving their health and longevity, and it still gets taken down. Like, I don't know. I don't get it, bro. There has to be some type of agenda against it. It's definitely the censorship of Meta and Instagram. It's heavily censored. Heavily fucking censored.
Gosh. All right. Well, I guess all you can do is adapt, right? No point complaining about it.
Exactly. You have to. But you'll definitely make it. Your views are fucking popping off, bro. Like, you just follow their rules and you will continue to prosper. But even my content now, like once you get a specific amount of strikes and your videos get taken down, they're like, oh, okay, this guy's kind of a problem. They kind of stop pushing your content as much as they used to. Like when you're new and shit, when I was new, I had videos popping off to 1 million, 5 million left and right, bro. But now it's kind of like it's a little suppressed down. Still get good views, but the account definitely doesn't pop off like it used to. Let's go into another one here. How long do I wait between cycles to recover properly?
You know, I have a rule of thumb that I do with myself, and I always advise this one as a non-medical professional. I say however long I was on something is however long I stop. So if I did a 12-week something, whatever, I will not do anything else for 12 weeks. Now I've always got my test base because I take my HCG with it, so I'm able to do that long term and still be able to have kids and everything like that. But that's my general rule of thumb. There are others that require longer. So like there's a really popular peptide out there, epithalon, which is really fucking cool. There's a lot of cool stuff that one does. And that one you're only supposed to do twice a year, and it's only run for 14 days. So there's little things like that exist. I believe myostatin inhibitors have a similar course of action where it's like a 2-week, 3-week type deal. So most of, I think it's definitely compound dependent, but for general rule of thumb, I stick to however long I'm on, so however long I'm off.
That's a great idea. I always tell that to new people that are trying to hop on. That's like the general rule of thumb where you can't go wrong. As long as your bloods are back to normal. This is what I say to some people as well. It depends on your bloods for everything, because some people are going to rebound quick if they post psychotherapy correctly, if they cruise correctly, whatever the fuck they do. I want to touch on this point too after this, but whatever they do, they will rebound quick just based on their genetics, and their labs could show that in a month they're back to normal. They still need to give themselves a break, but it's heavily dependent on that person specifically, how like resistant they are, how their body reacts to shit. So like for some of my clients, I always tell them, do not rush shit, because you need to let your body recover after putting it through the stress. But there are definitely specific scenarios where I feel like people could hop on a little sooner, maybe a couple months. If they took like a 3-month blast, couple months, give yourself a break. If your labs came back within that couple week period and like you're good, you're fully good, a solid month off, I feel like is completely fine. This is for someone that's a little more intermediate into the game, but if they're new, always, I agree with you, bro. Same time off as you were on, you cannot go wrong. Now, some people are reactive in a poor way, so like it might take them way longer to get their labs back to normal. So even if they did the PC correctly, the cruise, their labs might still be a little off in that time period, and they might need to take a little additional time off. So like maybe 4 months off if they were on for 3. Just very genetically dependent. I see all this data every single day with my clients. There's new clients coming in all the time. The more data I see, the more like I'm able to see the shit clearly. But it is so genetically dependent on this. Now, I wanted to touch on this blast and cruise versus PCT. This one's fucking major, and you'll see the argument throughout the whole industry.
Yeah.
If I even say PCT or post cycle therapy, people are coming for my head, bro. And they're like,
Really?
you fucking dumbass, you shouldn't PCT, you're fucking retarded. I'm like, okay. If you're new though, if you are brand new to gear and you haven't made that conscious decision that, hey, I'm gonna be taking this for a long haul, if they haven't contemplated TRT yet, I feel like doing a PCT is your only fucking option because a lot of people are younger, okay, 21, 22. Frontal lobe hasn't even developed. They don't understand the decisions they're making. I haven't even gotten there yet, bro, but everything is making a lot more sense to me as I grow. But it's like, you don't even know the decisions you're fucking making, so you don't know if you even understand what taking TRT for life means. That means that you have to pin a needle in your ass, in your adult, wherever the fuck, literally until you die in your grave. It's like, that's a huge life decision. Now, I always say this, that it's not a bad thing. For a lot of people, it's actually a really good thing, TRT. I'm taking it, you're taking it. A lot of people need it, and it's going to be very beneficial to your life. But for people that don't understand this and have a good baseline and don't understand that if they do this, they can legitimately fuck up their hormones for life. For these people, you have to do PCT. If you don't understand what you're doing, a PCT is mandatory, bro. This is my thought process behind it. Now, I fully am in understanding that taking a post-cycle therapy is toxic as fuck. Obviously, it's toxic. It's not going to be like a smooth sailing experience. There is going to be some type of toxicity that happens internally. Blasting and cruising is the opposite. It's going to be a lot more light on lipids, a lot less toxic. You're just going from the blast to TRT. You're not taking anything else because you've made that conscious decision that, hey, I'm on TRT for life, so I'm just going to go back to my baseline, which is TRT, which is the cruise. But I want to hear your opinion on this because that's my whole frame of mind, and people are coming at me with pitchforks, bro, trying to take my head off. Whenever I mention PCD, it's like, that's why I say it, because I don't want people to get shut down when they don't understand what that means.
Yeah, I would say before I started TRT, I did all the stupid stuff that everyone tries, the pro hormones and the SARMs and all that stuff. And for each of those, I did what you would call PCT. Now, I have no idea if I did it correctly because I was buying pills from a GNC that were like post-cycle therapy, like rebound, no idea what those were doing. I wasn't going through a clinic. I just thought like this stuff was going to be okay. And come to find out it was not. So for that sense, I think it's fine, especially if you're doing some of that. Like I don't advise anyone to do a pro hormone. They're literally terrible for you. But
Fuck no. They're horrific.
Yeah, it's awful.
Yeah.
And I did that when I was younger, and I did a PCT off that, and it stopped my test from crashing, which was great. But then, much later, I know that the pro hormone took its course. So while on TRT, however, I would say, I've taken some stuff. I'm not as experienced as a lot of guys in this space. I typically try to stick to most of the safest options possible because I believe you can get most of the same results with pretty safe stuff out there. But like I've done Anavar, for example. So I did my TRT with my Anavar, and then after the Anavar, I went back to my regular TRT dose. I have come off TRT once in my, I think we're on year 3 now. Wow, look at that, 3 years on, going strong. And I did like a 2-month, enclomiphene cycle to PCT like that, in somewhere in between. And I didn't like that 2 months. I'll be honest with you. It wasn't the same. But I was also recovering from a surgery, and I got my finger messed up there.
Oh, shit.
And I couldn't go outside, and I couldn't be active, so that probably played a part in it as well. But in terms of like actual blood work, my blood was fine. My T levels were fine. So I can understand the blast and cruising if you just go back. If you're doing TRT and you've committed to that for your life, I can understand doing that, going back to baseline, whatever. I also really understand the argument for every so often I'm going to PCT and do my enclomiphene for 2-3 months a year and then go back on my test to make sure I'm giving my body the stimulation to be able to produce its own testosterone naturally. Because heaven forbid one day, we don't have access to this stuff anymore. The government says you can only get this if you are fully
Gonadal.
hypogonadal, thank you, Jesus. if you are fully hypogonadal, and none of us can get anything anymore unless you're under 200 tests, right? So I believe it is good to be able to keep yourself functioning in the case of the worst scenario. But if you've committed to yourself and you know that you're going to take tests for life, I can understand the Black Cruise method.
Yeah, agreed. And I think that even like if you even start blasting and cruising, I feel like you've already made that conscious decision, because the longer you're exposed, the worse it's going to be to fully recover. If you are forced to come off, or if you just decide that, okay, the jabbing the needle in my ass thing is getting fucking old, I don't want to do this anymore. Okay, yeah. There's a lot of people get to that point where they're like, okay, I don't want to have to worry about this goddamn needle going into my ass or into my delt. And they get to that pivotal point where it's like, well, what do I do now? Because I've just been exposed for 2 years to this shit and I want to put the needle down. I can't do that. Like, you can't fucking do that. Because now you're at the point where even if you PCT properly, do all this shit, yes, you can definitely get your testosterone back up into some range. It's not going to be the optimal range. It's going to take a long ass time for your body to readjust back to that baseline, and it could take upwards of a year and a half to get to that goddamn point. And what are you going to do within that year and a half? You're going to feel like absolute dog shit. You cannot perform optimally as a male. You're not going to be able to get out of bed. Your work is going to suck. You're going to be fatigued, lazy. You can't do that as a male, especially with a family, when you have to provide for people, when you have a goddamn job that you need to go to in order to stay hired to make a living. It's like, it's going to make life hell. So then people jump back on, and then it creates that never-ending loop. You know what I mean? So I think in the beginning, at least, for new people, a post-cycle therapy is so crucial, just so that you understand how a cycle works, how you're going to react. You understand side effects. You understand that you will run into this shit, at least in the beginning. You understand the game. And then you post-cycle therapy off, and then you're like, you can review back what you did. You got the data in front of you, considering the fact you were tracking everything. You had the data, and you're like, okay, this was this whole experience. Did I like this? Okay, I got some gains, I got some shreds. Did I enjoy this? Do I want to continue doing this enhancement game? If the answer is no, cool, you can just fucking stop. Okay, no one gives a shit. You PCT'd, and now you're back in the optimal range. You're fine. You don't have to touch that shit again. If you say yes, you jump back on, now you can blast and cruise, or just PCT again, whatever the fuck. At that point, you probably would blast and cruise if you're going to take an additional blast. But at least you understand that either this is for you or it's not. You have two goddamn decisions, and you can make that decision. But if you just decide to keep taking it, and you get to that point again where you have to make the two decisions, you don't have the decision to just come off. You're going to be in that never-ending loop, which is what I try to make people aware of. But it's like I get fucking pitchforked at, bro. Like, people are coming at my goddamn head.
Everybody expert on social media, I found out. I was unaware of how many hormone experts there are in the country. There's apparently hundreds of thousands. No, there's not. But everybody seems to think that they know everything because someone told them something, or they saw something on someone's Instagram, and they are now just running with that information as though it is fact. And then some of these guys are so wrong to the point where I'm like, dude, like, go on ChatGPT. Like even just like a basic ChatGPT search would have saved you so much time at sounding like a jackass. Like, this is like factual information. This isn't like, oh, debatable. Like, does this one work better? Like, you sound like an idiot. But that's kind of just how you gotta be. And you've been doing this for much longer than I have. You just gotta fucking roll with these guys and be like, all right, man, maybe you're right. I'm an idiot. Congrats, you win.
No, what you got to do is not say anything. You can't say anything to him because, especially when popping off on socials, you need to be polarizing. That's what I found. That's why I make such, like, half the people hate me and half the people like me. Either way, I'm giving them value. Either way, I say, this is my opinion. This is what you should do to stay safe. I've collected so much data for myself and from clients I've helped. I understand this shit. Okay, you can take that at point blank or do your own goddamn research. Either way, you're going to find out it's true. But you need to be polarizing. So those people in the comments that are hating and shit, like, you need them, because that causes arguments, that causes more engagement, and you're going to pop off more of the algorithm. If you're loved by everybody, if everyone takes you as like, okay, this is factual, it's like you're not going to get too far. You will be in a little group, subsector of people, but you're never going to hit the algorithm.
Well, the thing is, you won't be loved by anyone. You'll be okay with a lot of people, right? So it's like you have to be, to your point, so polarizing where you are loved or hated.
Yes.
And most people are, people pleasers. Like, I don't want anyone to hate me, so they make them just okay with everyone. And it's like, oh yeah, Diago, nice guy, but like, whatever. As opposed to like, I fucking love that guy's content. But then the converse of that is there will be someone else who's like, that guy's a fucking idiot.
Yeah. I'm curious to see what your experience has been with that, because like the last time we talked, less than 10K, you know what I mean? I low key miss those days when you can just say whatever the fuck you want. You can be like,
Yeah, it's
you
fun,
motherfucker. You can say any word you want, and you can say like, this is the way and everyone loves you. You know what I mean? But you get to a point where you hit the algorithm and it's like, okay, everyone turns on you, everyone hates you. You kind of have to give into it. You have to be like, okay, you want to hate me? Here's your content you can hate me for. And then you have your own set of people that are writing for you. And then you're like, okay, this is a content for you guys, the value, so you can stay safe on your cycle. I'm curious to see what your experience has been with that after obtaining all these views and followers.
I really love my demographic. There's a lot of people in my space that live in the bodybuilder world, that live in the I want to teach guys who already work out a ton, and those are the guys I'm going to try to sell to, because that's what would make the most sense. Someone who's using a fitness supplement, you would typically target guys who work out a lot. My feed and my page is really a lot of people who are brand new to this stuff, and unfortunately in my space, especially the peptide world, there's almost nobody who knows what they're talking about. Like steroids, a lot of people have been using steroids for a long time, and you can find a guy who will tell you the right information, and there's a borderline ultimate truth when it comes to steroids. And in my space, peptides have been around for forever, but people aren't really using them like they are now. And it's so kind of like debatable in terms of like what's really going to happen. Now, most of the stuff we know, they're already in our bodies, most of them, actually all of them, what peptide is. And really people are just looking for like just an experience. They're not looking for undeniable, this is correct, this is incorrect. I have never once really made a claim to say, because people will say in the comments like, oh, you're taking it in the morning, like, don't you know you're supposed to take it at night? You fucking idiot. And I'm just like, I tried it at the nighttime, and it started working better for me when I did it in the morning. As opposed to, no, the morning's better because when you're fasted, then you get the extra GH benefit, like the shit like that. And there's no argument you can make when I'm like, look, it worked better for me. So many people still don't understand that everything in the fitness space is so unique to yourself. There's nothing I will be able to, there's no perfect split, perfect diet, perfect cycle for anybody. Everything is completely dependent on your internal makeup. So, in the same sense, everything's going to work different on everyone. I just tell people my experience, and some people seem to like it. Of course, I'm going to have the one, Einstein who's going to be in there. He's going to be like, actually, this is not the optimal lane. Use the product. And I'm like, okay, man.
And then you look at their profile, and it's like a fucking dog. It's like so
skinny. The gray screen on private with 20 followers following 500 people. And I'm just, okay, let's see your fucking awesome transformation. You don't have one. But like sometimes it gets to me, and I try to not to. But every now and again, I'll get one guy. Probably once a week, there's one that just sets me off, and it takes everything out of me not to be like,
bro,
fucking idiot. Like,
I know it's hard. It's difficult. You get used to it though. But just wait till you have other people in the industry that start making vids on you, bro. It will happen because you're coming up. You're coming up. So it's like it is going to happen once you get enough traction. People will get views off your names. They'll start coming at you with any little claim you said or anything. They're going to find it and they will come after you. That's where it gets like, okay, this is fucking retarded.
Yeah,
but you will get there.
That's pissing me off. There's one guy out there who is using my exact intro and word for word the first 30 seconds of my video, and he's like British or whatever or something, and he blocked me on my pages, so like I can't see the videos. But everybody's saying, "Hey, this guy's copying all your stuff," and it bothers me because some of it's getting views, and I'm like, "Those are my fucking." But I can't see it. Like I don't. So I had someone screen record it for me, and the dude just does not look like he even exercises. I'm like, why are people listening to this guy?
Yeah, bro. That's it. I would take that as a compliment if they're copying your
Yeah,
shit. I've
no,
had
imitation is the highest form of flattery, right?
Yeah, I've had so many people like I kind of started a wave. Whatever I do, whatever content I make, it starts like mini waves of then there's gonna be smaller people that make similar content to that shit. Just use it
Yeah,
as a compliment, bro. Even if they get views, it's like okay, you started the trend. People see
right.
that shit. They're gonna see like you did the peptide series where it's like yeah, I treat myself like a human lab rat. Like I see that shit too, bro.
Yeah.
But that just means that it's pulling, bro. You're doing good. And you're providing value. So people are seeing that. They're like, okay, I need to do this shit too. I would take it as a
I'll say
compliment.
that. That's Instagram's gonna get me banned. You say that.
You're right. But yeah, just the more you come up, bro, the more issues there's going to be. I mean, that's the name of the game.
Yeah.
I'm excited to get onto YouTube mainly. I'm going to switch over to YouTube mainly just because Instagram's its own little bubble, bro. Like when you get
Yes.
really involved in the Instagram bubble, it's like it's hard to fucking step out of it. It's like it becomes your life, kind of. So I'm
Oh,
trying to
dude,
like
I know it. Yeah.
yeah, I'm trying to like separate myself from that bubble and get on YouTube. I feel like that's where I'll really be able to hit like sort of a mainstream audience, and a lot more people are going to be able to start engaging with my shit as opposed to just being in that bubble of being an IG influencer.
We're about to do the same. We're about to start doing a lot more long forms, mostly for the company.
Yeah,
On full time stage. And I fully agree with you. Though I will say the one thing about YouTube is it doesn't start off big, but luckily you've got a following already where you can funnel people over there.
yeah,
And once it gets a little bit of traction, then it starts going to a bunch of random people, which is cool. And there's people on YouTube that don't set foot on Instagram or TikTok.
I know.
Like some people are only watching shit on YouTube.
Yeah, it's a whole separate audience. But I just love the idea of YouTube more because we can have this conversation and instead of just like a mini fucking 1 minute video where it's
The
very
whole thing,
vague,
yeah.
it's like they get all the information. You know what I mean? They can actually learn, like guaranteed people watching this to this point have learned a lot already. There's a
Yeah.
lot of shit about this game and like the industry and fucking gear and peptides and shit. So it's just you're able to actually provide a lot more value in one video, which is what I love. That's all I want to do is provide value. I want people to stay safe. I don't want people to mess themselves up because I've messed myself up real bad. I've seen people borderline die. I've seen someone die from this shit. And I've seen people get massively hurt, being infertile, running into heart attacks, strokes. Like I've been in contact with so many people now with my following that it's like I've seen everything, bro. I've legit seen everything. I've seen the pictures of the guys in the hospitals that took crazy ass cycles and they had a stroke or a blood clot. Like I've seen it front hand, so I know it's real. And it's like the only thing I want is for people to understand that this is not just a fucking game. This is real shit. This is real life. These are real fucking compounds that you're injecting into yourself to get a better physique. This is real shit. You can't just treat your body like it doesn't exist. It's very easy to because you don't see it. You're like, okay, I'm just a human, but you have a whole system working internally that you're not even aware of, that people don't understand. So they will abuse that shit to the max and they don't even understand they're doing it until something goes wrong. Then they get hit with a reality check and they're like, okay, maybe I do have to be more safe with this. But by that time, it's too late because you already ran into everything. You're infertile. You're
Yeah.
fucking had a
Yeah.
heart attack. Now you're at risk of another one. Like it gets to that point, bro.
Called proactive and reactive medicine. They say an ounce of preparation is worth a pound of cure, and it couldn't be more true. Anything you can do to take precautions and stop the problem before it happens, it's going to work way better than trying to solve the problem after it happens. Especially stuff like we see hair loss all the time. These guys will come to us bald headed, and we can help some of them. We can do a lot, but we're also not magicians, so we can't
Yeah.
like Mr. Clean all the way. Like we can't do anything for you. And but the other guys that we come in, that they'll come in, they're starting thin a little bit. I'm like, hey, like I can make sure you don't go bald. Like just let me, I see you got the corners. And then 6, 7, 8 months, a year later, whatever, it's now starting to move back further, further. They're like, okay, I'm going to take some action now. I'm like, I could have stopped this a year ago. You would have been fine.
Yeah, it's because people they don't understand. It's lack of awareness. And if you're gonna do this, you should already be aware. You should do the research. A lot of people don't. It's just that's society nowadays. Like everyone wants the quick fucking results. They're impatient. The social media trains you to be impatient. It's
Oh yeah.
ADHD'd out. You're just scrolling past until you find something that clicks that gives you that rush.
I think the
It's
attention span now, the average like 3 seconds.
yeah, bro. So like people are programmed like that already. But it's just making them aware. It's making people aware that this shit is real, that problems will happen if you're not proactive, if you're not already trying to do damage control. Viewing it as a chess game is what I just said in my last part of the boot camp. View it as a chess game. Just look in advance. Look at the moves you're making in advance. If I take this trend cycle, what's going to happen next? What are the different outcomes that can happen because of that? The pros and cons. Just like a fucking chess game when you're moving a piece, you got to see, okay, what's the pro and con of moving that fucking piece? There's like 5 different outcomes that can happen for moving this goddamn piece. You need to view it like that, and then you can make more conscious decisions on what you're doing. And if it's a net negative, where you take that trend and it's going to be a net negative, you can run into this, but you can look like a fucking sick shredded cunt. But you can also die, and you can also run into this problem, cholesterol, fucked, cardiovascular disease. Like, you need to view it like that. What can happen in the short and long term, and I think that's going to be the most beneficial for people. But it starts with understanding and being aware of the outcomes and what can go wrong and all this shit. And I feel like that's the purpose of our content. It's just instructing people on what specific compounds are, what you can expect, what the risks are, how to properly push these things, how to optimize your hormones so that you can live a safe, healthy life, go for longevity, and not end up croaking early, like the majority of people in this space, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. Is there anything else that that you had listed out to touch on? I think that's basically all our main points.
No, honestly, I think we hit. I think we hit everything I wanted to go over today. I gotta get to work anyway. Just sitting here, my phone dinging every 5 seconds. But that's the life, you know it well. But no,
Yeah.
I appreciate you having me on. It's always good to chat with you. I want you to come back to Florida sometime soon.
Oh, 100%. I'll definitely be back. I need to figure out if we're moving to Miami or not, but we definitely got to link up. I'm trying to go to your clinic, bro. We got to do like an in-person video at your clinic.
Check out Tampa, man. Might be the spot for you. You might like it.
Oh, yeah, and you moved into that new place too, huh? You're in like a huge
Yeah, you gotta
ass
come
fucking...
see the house. Not
Yeah.
too bad. Yeah, I'm in my office right now. Otherwise, I would show you kind of the scape out here. But yeah, dude, come out here. Come be my neighbor. I was just hanging out with my other neighbor last night. He's pretty successful dude. He pulled up in his fucking Rolls Royce. We got a little community out here.
Damn.
Just a bunch of fuck arounds. He's like 50 years old, but he likes to go out and party. You know, it's a fun group over here.
Fuck yeah, bro. We'll definitely be in touch. But I liked our convo. I think we'll continue to have good ones, bro. So we'll definitely be in touch. But I thank you for coming on. I think that we provided a lot of value. But yeah, we'll just we can cut it off here.
Sweet.
All right, brother.